Howdy, 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 folks. Today we're going to go over a highly requested ship, the Origin 400i. Now, before we get to the good stuff, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. The channel growth has been phenomenal, folks. I mean, I am genuinely blown away. Every day I get up, I check on the channel, and I see the growth we're having, and it is all thanks to you guys, the viewers. I know a lot of creators want to throw out, percentage of this many people are watching and not subscribing or all that baloney. I'm not going to do all that. What I look at is I have over 8% of my viewership are subs, which means I'm reaching the right people because y'all are coming back to see more, and that is fantastic. So thank you for that. Additionally, I wanted to let my international viewers or non-English speaking viewers know I am actively looking into how to add better subtitle support on my end to assist in translation, and I sincerely thank you all for tuning in. It means a lot. I love when I get on there and I see a new country, a new language group has been viewing my videos. That's pretty awesome. I do have to do my obligatory click pitch, so if you haven't yet, click that like button, tap subscribe, and click the bell icon for notifications of new content. I am releasing videos on a schedule now, so expect 4 videos a week on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Now let's get on to the video. Alright, so the Origin 400i, I won't lie, on paper and from a quick glance, I was not overly impressed by the ship. The exterior design is not to my personal taste. Mainly that long front nose, just it's not really an aesthetic choice that I would have made if I were designing a ship, but I also don't make money doing that, so what do I know? Alright, anyways, however, I decided I would take the dive anyways, and I won't lie, I was pleasantly surprised. This is the mid-range of Origin ships, the 300 and the 400 are really that mid-range. The 400 to the upper mid. I think once you get to the 600 series, that's definitely high on the end of the range. But it does seem to be, to me, the 3, the 4, and the 600 all are the best of the company's offerings, and I think the 400 definitely holds up its end. So let's get some cost and stats out of the way. Now on the RSI page, the 400i was $250 last time I saw it available. It is time limited, but not restricted like some of the other ships. It's not like a Constellation Phoenix where they're only going to sell so many of them whenever it goes on. To purchase it in-game, it's available at Astro Armada in Area 18 and New Deal in Lorville for $6,352,700 Alpha UEC, and it is not available to rent. It does have some surprisingly beefy stats. The hull HP is a whopping 80,500. Shield HP is 100,000, and it's quadrant style, which means instead of just front or back, you have front, back, port, and starboard. The stock DPS is 492. The SCM speed is a respectable 185 meters a second, and the max speed is 1,250 meters per second. Its agility ratings are 29 degrees per second for pitch, 29 degrees per second for yaw, and 75 degrees per second for roll, which isn't great, but also for its size and usage, it's not really all that bad either. It's firmly in the middle of the pack for its size and its use among competitors. The acceleration, I can't really find a reliable stat that really conveys it, and I think part of that is because different gravity wells seem to have a different effect on it, so I think people just don't want to list it. But it actually accelerates pretty well. It's not what I would call a burner. This is not a drag racing ship, but it does not feel slow either. It doesn't feel sluggish like a Freelancer, and it doesn't feel, when you're in those low grav moons. It doesn't feel like a Cuddy Black where it just kind of wants to run away from you and accelerate too quickly. The stock guns might not have an impressive DPS on paper, but there's only 2 of them, and they're CF Panthers, which are the size 3 laser repeaters. And I'll be honest, if I only had 2 mounts for pilot-controlled weapons and they were size 3, that's what I'm putting on. I see a lot of people talk about putting rhinos. I mean, I can see the allure there, but to me the ship doesn't really point well enough to take the gimbals off, so I wouldn't do that, but to each their own. I mean, I am known. I don't know if any of you have noticed, I really like the CF series of repeaters. They just work. In terms of competitor ships, to me the ship is really a competitor to a base Freelancer, a Cutlass Black, and the upcoming C1 Spirit. Now I know that a lot of people are going to hear that and they're going to be like, oh my god, this dude's an idiot. Just look at the price tags. But I'm really going off of how you can use it in game right now, and with its 42 SCU of cargo space, that's really its only function. It is not a fighting ship with only 2 size 3 guns. It's not a ship I'm going to go after bounties in because of its size, limited maneuverability, limited firepower, and even if you have 2 people running the guns and they're able to get on the turret and the turret not bug out, that only helps me if ships get behind me. So if I'm not using the ship as a fighting ship, it is a great fly around ship. It's actually a pretty decent daily driver because it's got some storage capacity. It's got room for ground vehicles, which we'll cover in a bit. I do think it's a useful ship, but I really only see its competitors right now as being those 3 ships I just named. Now, when exploration comes in, I think this ship's going to have a bit more value. I think, judging by the fact that it's got the cartography table in the back of the recreation area, that exploration might be an added path for this ship, but at the moment, it's not. So, let's go over some of the actually looking at the ship. So the exterior of the ship has 3 access points, but only 2 of them can actually get you into the ship. The front nose area has access to an X1 garage, which does not, it comes down and you can go up in it, but you can't actually use that to get into the ship. The quantum drive little area, or gravity generator, I'm not even sure what they're calling it, is actually inside that little glass enclosure, so you can't go through it. I did put a it's just a small hangar. I did put a Nox on here so you could see that, you know, those small hover bike type vehicles fit just fine. You just have to be, I mean, it's narrow with a Nox. I don't know if a Dragonfly would comfortably fit in there. I'm sure people have done it. Now this other button, we're going to close that up. I do actually like the animation. I know it's not important, but I like, I don't know, it's just kind of neat. Alright, so let's open up this other button. This opens up a ramp that takes you into the heart of the technical deck. And here on the rear is the cargo elevator. I'll close this real quick. Now I have loaded a Cyclone to show you that it is definitely possible, and it really wasn't all that difficult to do. You do want to be careful. I wouldn't recommend any of the Cyclones that have weapons mounted on the top, and I'll show you why. So when it closes, it's just really tight. I mean, if you've got the MT or the AA or whatever the other. Pretty sure there's another one that's got a gun for the Cyclones. You know, that's going to clip in there, and it could blow your ship up, and nobody wants to deal with that, you know. Here we are in the cargo bay. There's limited component access. You can get into the power plants, the jump drive, and of course the non-functional escape pods are here as well. Small note, if you want to have a ground vehicle but still be able to carry some cargo, if you stack that cargo to the very rear area of the grid, which would be right here, you can still fit a PTV or an STV reasonably well, but keep in mind that all of these recommendations can be bent at your own discretion. I'm just trying to inform people of the easiest way to use the ships. Alright, we're going to move on to the engineering bay. So, here on the right we have the elevator, and also there's an emergency ladder. You'll notice that there are these two little rooms here. They are sealed, climate-controlled component rooms. The one on the right holds the shield generator, which we can open up right here. Big old size 3 shield generator. And the one on the left has all of our coolers, which is kind of funny because they're just stacked in there, like super tight. Now, I've heard all sorts of theories and rumors as to why the rooms here in engineering are built this way. I won't speculate on something that seems to be completely unconfirmed by CIG, though. I will say one of the funniest rumors that I've heard is that it's going to be cold storage for dead bounties, but I don't think we can smell our head up. Anyway, so we're going to open the front area here. This is the airlock room. There's our airlock. If we look through here, we can see our NOx poking out. There's our gravity generator. We've got these little EVA lockers and storage. Right now, you can't really do anything with an EVA locker, but once you are, that's going to be pretty cool. And I like that it's got a little section here. You can set up a full loadout, you know, 2 long guns, a pistol, med gun, tractor beam, multi-tool. You know, it's just kind of neat. Alright, so I'm not sure why my ship has a messed up ramp button, but yeah, it's just kind of floating there out of nowhere instead of on the wall. You can actually see the spot where it's supposed to go right here. And it's been like that since I got it. So I guess it's just what I'm getting to deal with. It's an alpha, right? Alright, anyways, let's go up to the habitation deck and we'll look around. Alright, so here at the top of the elevator, if we turn immediately to our right, we'll be on the bridge. I'm also not sure why my ship blacks out the door there, but it just does. The left seat is the lower remote turret for the rear. The right seat is the upper turret in the rear. And of course, the middle seat is the pilot's chair. Now, the pilot does have pretty good glass, which is definitely a hallmark for Origin ships, and it's one of the things that I do like about them, because you can see pretty well. There's not a lot blocking the way. It does feel a little narrow with that bar coming across the top, but it's not really a hindrance. It's not like the Freelancer where you get a tiny little band and you just can't see anything. The pilot firepower is not impressive, but as I've said earlier, 2 size 3 Panther repeaters with 84 rounds in a magazine isn't terrible either, and there is an absolutely massive missile complement. We've got 16 size 1s, 16 size 2s, Uh, the controls aren't bad, though it does seem to float a bit. And I like to think of that like oversteer in a sports car. When you maneuver at or even slightly above SCM speed, it just tends to keep kind of going in that direction a little longer than you would expect. But it's something you can get used to pretty quick. It's not really a big deal. Alright, so as we exit the bridge, the door on our right is the crew bathroom. We've got all sorts of interesting little things here. We've got separate buttons. We've got toilet control, shower control. We've got to do an obligatory mirror check, confirm that our character is still in fact a vampire. Okay, thank the Lord. The Dark Lord, of course. And there's, of course, a non-functional closet in here to hang our stuff while we wash off. Alright, now as we come out, we go down the hallway. We come to the habitation rooms. The one on the right is the captain's quarters. It may not be as large on some other ships, but it is still quite nice. Luxurious appointments, design. We have a non-functioning closet, of course, a pretty comfortable looking bed, and a desk to type out our origin love letters at. As we cross the hall, we have the crew quarters with room for 2. They each get a pretty nice bed and a non-functional closet. Apparently, I need to keep an eye on someone in the crew, because they're getting into maybe some rebellious thoughts of political discourse. Can't have that. All right, now at the end of the hall, we have the recreation area with a full kitchen, dining area, and a non-functioning map display for entertainment purposes, I'm assuming. I will say the back glass in this room is really a tone setter for the design of the whole ship. You know, that glass almost feels like it goes all the way around, with just a few minor bars here and there for structural rigidity, I'm going to assume. Alright, so notes on the ship. Would I buy it compared to its main competitors that I listed earlier? Probably not, but that is purely a personal preference thing. I do sincerely appreciate the appeal of Origin's luxury. However, I am a pragmatist to a fault, and honestly, I could buy 2 to 3 ships for the price of this one that will be able to fulfill all of its roles and do a better job at them. I look at this ship as really the first entry into what I like to call flex ships. It's the BMW 300 series of the Star Citizen universe. I mean, it's a very nice ship, don't get me wrong, but it is overpriced for what it actually has to offer. Some pros, the ship has adequate firepower and it handles adequately as well. Some cons, it only has adequate firepower and the cargo capacity really isn't all that great. Some actual flaws that I do want to mention. I have not been able to use the turrets without getting stuck in this turret seat. And that has been both turrets every single time so far. And the cargo bay floor is slightly smaller than the actual cargo bay. So be careful when you... Well, actually, it's slightly larger. So be careful when you park a vehicle on it and you go to raise the ramp. Because if you're not exactly where it needs to be, it can blow up the vehicle or even your ship when you go to close it. This has been my review of the Origin 400i. If you like what I'm doing, please click the like button, tap subscribe, and if you're feeling extra generous, click the bell icon for notifications. This has been Eyes of Heimdall. Get out there and conquer the stars, and I look forward to seeing you all out there in the verse.